Saint Bede the Venerable may not be the first name that comes to mind when we talk about great saints. He never founded a religious order, never traveled far from home, and never shed his blood as a martyr. Yet this quiet monk in a northern English monastery left behind a legacy that preserved the Christian memory of an entire civilization. Bede was born around the year 673, just a generation after England had begun to convert to Christianity. He was sent to the monastery of Wearmouth Jarrow, a child, and would remain there for the rest of his life. Unlike many saints whose stories are filled with miracles or heroic journeys, Bede's life was rooted in discipline, study, prayer, and writing. But what he did from the silence of his cell had more impact than most can imagine. He devoted himself entirely to learning and teaching. He wrote on everything from theology to music, science, grammar, astronomy, and especially history. His most famous work is the Ecclesiastical History of the English People. In it, Bede carefully recorded how the gospel had spread across the British Isles. Without his writings, we would know almost nothing about the early church in England, or even about saints like Augustine of Canterbury or Cuthbert of Lindisfarne. He did not just write events, he prayed them. He understood history as salvation unfolding in time, and his purpose was to glorify God through memory and truth. But Bede was more than a historian. He was a doctor of the church. He translated portions of the Bible into Old English to make the scriptures more accessible. He wrote commentaries on the Gospels so that ordinary monks and priests could understand the depth of God's word. He explained the liturgical calendar, the meaning of the sacraments, and the beauty of the church's traditions. And he did all of this while living in near total obscurity, never seeking praise. One of the most moving parts of Bede's life comes at its end. As he lay dying in 735, he continued dictating a translation of the Gospel of John to a young scribe. He wanted to finish the work before he died. When he was told that only one more sentence remained, he calmly spoke the last line, gave thanks to God, and breathed his final breath. He died teaching and praising Christ. Centuries later, the Church would recognize his extraordinary contribution. He was given the title Venerable, a sign of deep reverence. In 1899, Pope Leo XIII declared him a doctor of the Church, the only Englishman to receive that honor. And in a time when books were rare and most people could not read, Bede had preserved not just history, but the flame of faith through knowledge. What can we learn from Bede? That sainthood is not reserved only for the dramatic or the famous. Holiness is possible in study, in routine, in faithfulness to a quiet mission. In a world that celebrates noise, speed, and recognition, Bede reminds us that the patient work of truth is what builds civilizations. He reminds us that knowing and loving God with our mind is just as vital as loving Him with our heart. You do not need a stage to serve God. You do not need a microphone or a spotlight. If you are faithful to your daily duties, to prayer, to learning, to service, then like Bede, your life can shine through time in ways you may never see. Maybe you are a student, a teacher, a writer, or someone quietly serving your family. Bede is your patron, and he is proof that no gift, no calling, is too small to change the world if offered to Christ. If this video inspired you, help us share these powerful stories. Click like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment about how Saint Bede's life challenges you to live differently. Every share helps the witness of the saints reach someone new. And if you want to walk in the footsteps of quiet greatness, start now. Open the scriptures, light a candle, and say with Bede, "Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit." Saint Bede the Venerable, pray for us.